Today, a final conviction in the murder of George Floyd.
A judge found former Minneapolis police officer Tou Thao guilty of aiding and abetting manslaughter. Thao chose to have Hennepin County Judge Peter Cahill decide the verdict instead of facing a jury. Judge Cahill said Thao disregarded his training and displayed no compassion. As the legal chapter closes, many in the community still demand reform. In fact, the United Nations is visiting Minneapolis right now to hear about the impacts of police violence. Our Reg Chapman was there for the emotional meeting.
It was a chance to tell their stories in front of an international body. Representatives from the United Nations sat at the Urban League in North Minneapolis to hear about racial injustice and police brutality in Minnesota.
It was the murder of George Floyd that was the impetus for this global uprising, which was probably the largest sustained uprising perhaps in history, right?
The murder of George Floyd brought them here, but it was the stories from other families that filled the room.
That my greatest fear as a parent of a child who was autistic was that I would get a call saying that the police had murdered my son.
The testimony so emotional, breaks had to be taken. Breathing exercises afterwards to help people feel centered.
It's definitely difficult to listen to these stories, but I think for the people testifying, they're so happy to have a voice. They're happy to tell their stories to this international body.
A report containing cases of police violence from cities like Chicago, New York, Atlanta, and Minneapolis was given to the UN Human Rights Council that led to what you are seeing here. People who feel victimized by police crying out for change.
Unless you are in it, unless you are in this country, it's really hard to see how bad it is. And I hope the United Nations can press the United States to make some big change.
All had demands. All want transformative change, especially when it comes to young people in the justice system.
And putting them in solitary confinement and stripping everything out of the cell is so dehumanizing. It's literally designed to break you.
The UN will separately meet with government officials and other stakeholders to talk solutions. A move all in this room feel is heading in the right direction. Reg Chapman, WCCO News.
Regarding the George Floyd murder, the judge will sentence Tou Thao in August. As for the other officers involved, Derek Chauvin is serving 22.5 years for murder and manslaughter. J. Alexander King is serving a 3.5-year sentence for manslaughter. Thomas Lane is serving 3 years for aiding and abetting manslaughter. All 4 ex-officers are also serving federal time for violating George Floyd's civil rights.